So first, let's start. What is conflict? The word conflict has been derived from Latin word, and that Latin word is conflictus. It was around 15th century, and this word is composed of two words. One is com, which means together, and the second is flager, which means to strike. So it means to strike together if we see from the origin. Now, what if we open up any dictionary, and the dictionary, which is a very popular one in hand, is Oxford Dictionary. And if we search for this word conflict, the meaning given is a serious disagreement or argument, typically a protected one. Another dictionary, that is Merriam-Webster's dictionary, that gives the meaning as a struggle for power, property, etc., and is known to be a conflict. That is known to be a conflict. So these are two meanings from two very popular, common dictionaries available. And there are certain other definitions also, which are given by scholarly figures. And we can say that conflict is a disagreement or struggle between two parties, ideas, and entities. Let's discuss the word conflict in detail. Conflict is a state of opposition between persons or groups or organizations. It is a disagreement between people, maybe two persons, maybe two groups, maybe two organizations, or within groups or within organization. That we'll discuss at a later stage. But the conflict arises because there is some disagreement, and that disagreement may be the result of several things. It may be that the ideas do not match, the perspectives of two persons or two groups or organizations do not match, their priorities differ, or their preferences are at variance, and they do not have common beliefs, they are at daggers drawn, their values or goals are different, or the organizational structure may be the root cause of the conflict. There are different levels of conflict. As it was given in one of the definitions, that the conflict may be between two persons, that is, two individuals. It may be between two groups. It may be between two organizations. And then, if we further go in details, the conflict in individual may be interpersonal, or it may be intrapersonal. Similarly, the conflict in group may be intrapersonal or interpersonal. And the same goes for organizational conflict, that may be inter or intra. Now, what is the difference between inter and intra? Inter means between two individuals. Inter group conflict means between two groups, and inter organizational level is between two organizations. But intra means within. If it is intra group, that means it is a conflict within the group. If it's intra individual, that means the conflict is within a person. He is having a dagger drawn between some ideas, some events, some likes, some dislikes, or some decisions which he has not been able to sort out or take. So the levels of conflict primarily between individuals and groups, or between groups, or within the group, or between organizations. So that is the level of conflict. Now, what is the cause of conflict? After sorting out what is conflict, now we move on to what is cause of conflict. One may be poor communication. That when there's a conflict between two persons, that means they are not having smooth communication, and there's a lack of communication between the two, or there may be misunderstanding between the two, or there may be personal difference between the two, or there may be biases or prejudices or competition. So, poor communication, misunderstanding, personal differences, and biases and prejudices and competition, they are primarily the result or the cause, sorry, not the result, or the cause of a conflict between individuals, groups, or organizations. All right. The conflict, there may be, as I said, maybe due to any reason, but once the conflict has arisen, how one can manage the conflict. So there are different styles and approaches towards managing a conflict. Each in and the style or approaches are different for different situations. A manager skilled in conflict resolution should be able to take a bird's eye view of the conflict and apply the conflict management style. There are scholars such as Hughes, Ginnett, or Curfy. They wrote in year 2009, and they describe 5 common approaches to conflict management. If there is a conflict, how can we manage it? The styles are, they have mentioned 5 styles. That is very popular, and I picked this slide from this Google for you. Here you can see there are 5 styles of uh, conflict management. There is one is compromising, competing, cooperating, collaborating, avoiding, accommodating. Each has got different dimension, different shades. Some are more assertive, some are less assertive, some styles are have low cooperation. The other styles have high cooperation. Let's see each of them one by one. First style is accommodation. This style is about simply putting the other party's need before one's own. So that would mean that the person is very gentle, very probably too submissive, too nice, and he might even is ready to shed away his own right and allow other to have a win over. So this first style is accommodating. You are pulling back and allowing the other party to have his way, have his will. So accommodation is a situation where you don't care as strongly about the issue as the other person. So, while it might be seen somewhat weak, because the person is submissive and is leaving his even rightful share, but accommodation can be absolute choice to resolve small conflicts. If it's not a big deal, if it's not a big damage, if there is some conversation going on and someone concedes to the other's point of view, despite the fact that he's know that he's 100% right, the other is 100% wrong, still he keeps mum and concedes. Well, he is accommodating the conflict. This one style of resolving the conflict. The second style is avoiding. This style aims to reduce conflict by ignoring it. Another way, that means the person is just setting the thing aside. Team members in conflict can be removed from the project. So, how can you avoid it? That means you are not accommodating, you are not trying to solve the issue, but instead you are separating the two. If they are within the same group, the two-person within the same group. So, giving you an example of different sections in a school, there's a primary section, there's middle section, there's high section. If two teachers or one teacher and the section head or vice principal, they are not pulling on well, one way of resolving the conflict is shift him out of the this group to another group and let him make a new beginning. And hence, this is one way of avoiding the conflict. This can be effective conflict resolution style if there is a chance that a cool down period would be helpful. That means once you have detached the two, and there's a cushion in between. So over a period of time, things would settle down, they would cool down, and maybe the once they come together again, they might have the sanity might have prevailed by then. Then the third style of conflict resolving is the style seeks to find the middle ground by asking both parties to concede. Now, the first one was, remember, accommodation. Someone has pulled back completely and given way to the other. That's win-win situation for win-win situation for the other party. But in this situation, both parties pull a step back, so both parties concede to some extent and find out a middle way. So this style seeks to find a middle ground, and this is style you may say is a lose-lose situation. That is partly both sides give up their position which have they taken in the conflict. Then the fourth style is a competing style. This style rejects compromise and involves not giving in to others and wants. Now, this in this particular style, this is almost opposite to accommodation. That is that the daggers are drawn and they are going to fight it out. So the style rejects compromise and involves not giving it to other point of view. One party stands firm in what they think is correct handling of situation and does not back down until they get their way. So it is a fight till death, almost situation like fight till death. Then the fifth style is collaboration. This style produces the best long-term result. At the same time, it is often the most difficult and time-consuming reach. So each party needs and wants are considered, and this is a win-win situation. Win-win situation meaning both parties sit together, they cool down, and both party parties are gainer, nobody is loser, and the best possible solution is parties are almost friends again and start collaborating and start functioning as well as amicably as they were doing before. So in brief, see this slide again. Those five styles of conflict management. That if we start from the left top, that is not a good one in the sense that both sides they are competing and they on the assertive scale on the y axis it is assertive scale on assertive scale it is high and just below competing it is avoiding that is on assertive scale, it is low. Avoiding is low on assertive scale as well as cooperative scale. But as we move, say, in the bottom on the right hand side, it is accommodating. So in the accommodating, it is high on cooperative side, but still low on assertive style. And then on the top right, that is collaborating. That is both high on assertive as well as cooperative scale. So that compromising of obviously is in the middle is the best one. So these are different. Is escalated. It starts by a disagreement. That is the lowest ladder. And somebody says to another one, well, we see things different. That means we disagree on some point of view, on some activity, or how the thing should go on. Somebody that there's a disagreement. Now, then, if the disagreement is not resolved, the conflict would escalate and will find personification. And that means that disagreement would result in then a personal, sort of personal fault finding or saying that, well, you are at fault. The other say, no, you are at fault, I am right. So now this two meme starts. Two meme starts from a simple disagreement to it becomes bitter and it results in two meme. Then the next ladder that is it further conflict escalates. We find the problem now expands and the problem expand. This means that now they are now almost they are throwing things at one another or trying to grab one another and they are just not in terms with one another and the fourth ladder is dialogue is abandoned. Dialogue is abandoned. And what does that mean? That means now they are forced apart and they are not even on talking terms. They have just separated and they have decided to fight it out further. So the bitterness further increases, and the fifth image we see is enemy images, right? And the sixth is open hostility. Now, open hostility is that they will be physically trying to damage one another or hurt one another. And then the last one is that and it becomes a permanent feature and a long-term polarization of conflict. So this is what conflict. Here is another good slide I'm showing you, and that shows you that how should we go about resolving a conflict. First thing is in conflict resolution that you should clearly identify problem causing the conflict. What is the problem? What is the problem? Is it jealousy that is creating that problem? That means there may be a post, one post, and there are three, four competitors for that one post. Yeah, there's a post of a senior teacher of basic pay scale 17 and 16 BPS 16 teacher, four, five senior teachers are competing for that. That may be a reason for the conflict. Similarly, there are other interests of other persons. If the interests are clashing, again, there would be a reason for a conflict to crop up. So first thing is that see that how can you resolve that? How can you resolve that? But resolving would first means that you should try to understand what is brewing, what is wrong, where the interests of two persons or two groups are clashing, and then only further and identify feelings associated with the conflict. So, the feelings are obvious that everybody wants promotion. Everybody wants that his job to be recognized and accelerated promotion is given. So I identify the impact of the problem. If the problem goes on like that, that may affect the efficiency and hence decide whether to resolve conflict or you have to do what? How do you have to tackle that conflict? So work for the resolution of the contract. Think deep on it. Find different situation. Try to satisfy the maximum possible people who you can satisfy. There may be some whose interest would not be served while a resolution is going on. Give them some promises of future reward and hence try to resolve the conflict.